All right, greetings everyone. It's Mr. Tlaja again. So now what is it that we are going to look at now is we are going to be trying to solve the problems that involve the theorem of Pythagoras, right? So now firstly, and now what is very much important for us to do is there are some of the key steps that we are going to follow in order for us to be in a position to answer these questions now, right? Now, firstly, one thing that you need to do, if you are given this ratios, you need to firstly be in a position to isolate, right? To isolate the trig ratios, right? The trig ratios. So what does that mean? This means now, if, for example, you have a 3 sine, in this case, you have 3 sine theta subtract 2, which is equals to 0, right? So which means you must isolate this 3 sine in such a way that you have nothing here. You are only left with sine of theta, and then all the numbers are this other side, right? So that's the first step that you need to do. Then now, secondly, what you need to do is now, after you have done that, you need now to be in a position to determine, right? Determine the quadrant, right? So you must be in a position to determine which quadrant is this particular ratio going to fall in, right? So now how do you know which quadrant is it? You're going to check whether is it in your first quadrant is the value of x and y both positive, or your value of your r and also your value of your y positive. Are we together? So if all your values are positive, then you'll know that it's in your first quadrant. If it's in a second quadrant, you know that also sign in your second quadrant is positive, tan in your third quadrant, then cos in your in your fourth quadrant, right? So this is the second thing that you need to do. Then after that, after you've solved and identified the quadrant, now you need to draw, right? Now you need to draw the sketch and use the theorem of Pythagoras, right? So you're going to draw the sketch after the drawing the sketch, then you're going to use the theorem of Pythagoras, right? And use your Pyth theorem, right? So that's what you're going to do. After that, you draw the sketch, then you check whether do you have your value of your x, your value of your y, and your value of your r. Then you calculate for those, right? Then now, the last one, what is it that you're going to do? Then now you answer the question, right? You answer the question that you are required to do. Okay, so these are the key basic steps that you need to follow in order for you to to solve all of these questions successfully, right? So now, without any further ado, let's try and solve all these questions and see in terms of what we have there. Now, look, number one, what we have as your number one, look, now what you are given here, they say if you are having, this is 3 sine theta subtract 2 is equals to 0. Now, and you have tan, which is less than 0, which means your tan is in there, it's negative, right? When they say tan is less than 0, is negative. And already you know that tan is only negative in which quadrant? Is only negative in quadrant 1, in quadrant 2 and in quadrant 4, right? So which means you already know that this ratio is going to fall between quadrant 2 and also quadrant 4. Oh, it's okay. So now let's continue. So they want you to determine what is the value of sine square theta plus cos square theta without a use of a calculator, right? And by using the diagram. So what is it that you're going to do? Now we are going to start. I said now first, step one, you need to isolate the trig ratios, right? So now let's start by isolating the trig ratio. So this is going to be same as what? Now here you're going to take this one, this side, right? So what you're going to have, this is going to be 3 sine of theta is equals to 2. Right. And after that, what is it that you're going to do? After that, you are now going to divide by 3. You divide by 3 this side, right? So which means this one and these ones, they're going to cancel. So your sine of theta, it is going to be given by what? By 2 over 3. Right? So now that's the first thing that you're going to do. Now the second part is now you're going to then identify in terms of in which quadrant are you going to find this thing, right? Now let's check. Look, you have the positive value here and you have the positive value here, the numerator and your denominator, right? And you know that, look, you know that if you can do this, if you, let's say you draw a cast diagram, You know that sine is positive in your first quadrant and sine is positive in your what? In your second quadrant. However, from this guide, what you were given, they said your tan is negative, right? Your tan is negative. So already you know that your sine must be in either your first quadrant or your second quadrant, right? So now, which means your tan, you know that your tan in your second quadrant is negative, right? And also in your fourth quadrant is negative, right? So which means actually all of this is going to be in which quadrant now? It is going to be in this quadrant, right? Can you see that? Because you can see that that's where your sine is positive and that's where your tan is going to be negative, right? So which means that this particular ratio is found within your second quadrant, right? So now you have identified in terms of which quadrant is this going to be. Now you're going to go through step 3. Now step 3, you're going to start by drawing this. So let's start by drawing it. So when you draw this, what is this going to be? Now, what you're going to have, this is going to be in your third quadrant, right? This is going to be in your third quadrant. And now, if this is in your third quadrant, what is it that you're going to have? Now, remember, you know that your value of your x, y, and r is given. This one, your sine of theta, it is given by what? It is given by y over your r, right? So, which means here, if let's say this is your point here, what you are going to have here, your y, your value of your x is going to be the unknown. However, your value of your y is going to be 2, and your value of your r, which is your, you know, your hypotenuse side, is going to be what? It is going to be cos to 3. Okay, so now you have that. And now when you have this, now you can do now, you can what? Use the theorem of Pythagoras. So what is it that you're going to do when you want to use the theorem of Pythagoras here? Now, this is what you're going to do. For theorem of Pythagoras, this is going to be r squared is equals to x squared plus y squared, which is going to be your pi theorem, right? So this is going to be your pi theorem. Then after that, what is going to be your r? Your r, remember, you already know that this is 3. So this is going to be 3 squared is equals to, what is your x? Your value of your x, it is the unknown that you are looking for, which is x squared, plus what is your y? Your y, it is given by 2 squared, right? So what is it that you're going to have here? So what you're going to have here, you're going to transpose this. When you transpose this side, you know, when you take this one, this side, what is it that you're going to have? Your x squared is going to be given by 9, subtract, what is that? This is 4, right? Because this 3 squared is 9, and also 2 squared is 4. So therefore, which means your x squared is given by what? By 5. So which means your value of your x, is going to be equals to what? It is going to be plus minus root 5. Are we together? But now, are we done? No, we are not done. We need to identify now in terms of, is this in the positive side of x or the negative side of x? Luckily, you know that this is going to be your y, this is your x. These are the positive sides, and these are the negative side, right? And this, if you can, you know, plot this, can you see that this is the negative side of x, right? So therefore, which means your value of your x is going to be your negative root 5. Sure, right? Then now after that, now you are going to answer the real question now, right? That's the last step. Now you are answering the question. The question is, they wanted you to find out in terms of what is going to be your sine squared of theta plus your cos squared of theta, right? So now you're going to come back and say now, what is the ratio of sine squared of theta in terms of x, y, and r? The ratio of that, you know that I usually prefer that you start this way. What is the ratio of that? You know that it is going to be y over your r squared plus this other one. What is going to be this? Your cos is x over your r squared, right? So which means you're going to write the values of x, of y over r now. What is the value of y over r? This is same as 2 over 3 squared plus this other one is same as what? The other one is same as your x is negative root 5 over your what? Over your 3. Are we together? Now that's going to be that. And now from here, you are going to square all that. Remember, this is also square. So when we are squaring this, what is it that you're going to have here? Look, so this is going to be 2 squared, 2 squared. It is going to be 4 over 9. That's 3 squared plus this other one is going to be negative root 5 squared. It's going to be what? This is going to be same as 5 over what? Over 9, right? And you are having the denominators that are the same. So this is same as over 9, which is 5 plus 4, or 4 plus 5, which is going to give you 9 over 9, which is going to be your 1 as your solution. Okay, so which means now this is how you are supposed to solve the solution of this is how you're supposed to solve your sine squared of theta plus your cos squared of theta. Now let's look at number 2. They say now if you have 4 cos b subtract 5 is equals to negative 2, right? And they say now this your b, your angle of B, it is found between 0 and 90 degrees. I think from there, you already know that whatever that you are going to find, your B is in your what? It is in your quadrant number 1. That's at least one thing that you already know, right? That it's in your quadrant number 1, right? So now let's see in terms of what is required of us. Now look, the first question they say, write down what is going to be your cos of beta. Now, this one, actually, it follows the step that we usually follow when we solve for such questions, right? So the first thing that we need to do, indeed, we need to isolate your cos of B firstly so that we can be in a position to solve for it, right? So this is going to be what? Now we are going to say what you are given there. You are given 4 cos of, 4 cos of B subtract your 5 is equals to your negative 2. Sure. Then now after that, what is it that you're going to do? You're going to start here. This is going to be same as 4 cos of B. Then you're going to take this 5 this side. So when you take this 5 this side, can you see this is going to be same as now? The 5 is going to be positive, right? So you're going to have 5 subtract 2. So this is same as 4 cos of B, which is same as, what is 5 subtract this? This is going to be given by your 3. Right? And now you're going to divide by 4 this side, you divide by 4 this side, so that these 4 cancel each other. So which means you're going to have 4 cos of B, which is going to be 3 over 4. Isn't it so? And then what is it that you're going to do now after this? What you're going to do is now you're going to find out in terms of, you've already found out what is your cos of B. Are we together? So this is the first one. And remember, they said this is in your first quadrant, right? So which means now they say make a use of a diagram and calculator. So since this is in your first quadrant, now if you're going to draw your cast diagram, what you're going to have here is something like this. Let's try and draw our cast diagram. So if you can try and draw your cast diagram, this is going to be in your first quadrant. So which means what you are going to have here, let's plot this like that. So which means if this is your y, this is your x. So what you're going to have here, this is going to be your what? This is going to be your 3. And remember that this, let's understand that cos is given by what? Cos is given by x over r. So which means your value of your x here, it is going to be 3. And your value of your r, it is going to be 4. Altogether. And then now the next thing that we are going to use now that we've drawn our diagram, we're now going to use the theorem of Pythagoras to find out in terms of what is going to be your value of your what, your value of your y, because can you see that your value of your y here is still unknown, right? So we are going to find out what is value of our y. So we are going to use the theorem of Pythagoras. So we are going to say now, look, your r squared is going to be equal to your x squared plus your y squared. Sure, right? Then you're going to provide salutations, which is Pike theorem, right? This is your Pythagoras theorem. And then now from here, what is going to be that your value of your r, you already know that this is 4 squared is equals to, what is your value of your x? This is 3 squared plus y squared, right? So when you take this one this side, what is going to be 4? This is same as 16. Subtract what is 3 squared. This is 9, which is going to be your y squared, right? Remember, you took this one this side so that you can group like terms so that you can solve for your y. Now, what is going to be your 16 subtract 9? What you're going to have there, this is going to be your 7, right? So this is going to be y squared. So now that you are here, you're going to find for the root of both sides, which means you're going to say now your y is going to be plus minus your root 7. And if your y is plus minus your root 7, now because this is in your first quadrant, you know that your y is also positive. So therefore, your value of your y here, it is going to be positive root 7. Altogether, now you have solved for that one firstly. Now, the second part now, let's look at number B in terms of what we are required to do in number B. Now that we've calculated your value of your x, y, and r, you can even come here and write that this is same as your root 7. Now, let's look at your number B. Let's write your B here. So now what is it that you are required in B? B, they want you to calculate what is your tan of B. Now, tan of B is very much easy because it is what? If this is your angle B here, right? So what is going to be tan? Remember, it's TOA, which means it's opposite over adjacent. And what is opposite? So this is going to be root 7 over your what? Over your 3. Okay, then that is going to be tan of B. Now let's look at number C. Now, in number C, they want us to find out in terms of what is sine of 90 degrees subtract your beta, right? Now, sine of 90 degrees subtract your beta is your, it is your cofunction. Okay. I usually, refer it as your interchangeable, right? So which means when you have sine of 90 degrees subtract beta, this is same as what? This is same as your cos of what? This is same as your cos of what? This is going to be, now look, if you are saying 90 degrees subtract beta, this is in your first quadrant, right? If this is in your first quadrant, therefore, your sine of 90 degrees subtract beta is going to change to cos of B, right? So now then this is going to be same as what? Cos of B. And now what is going to be your cos of B in this case? Now your cos of B is going to be given by what you've already found out there, which was what? Your cos of B, it was same as 3 over your what? Over your 4. So therefore that is going to be your value of your C. Now let's look at your number D. Now, what is it that you are going to find in number D? Look, number D, they want you to find what is tan of B over your sine of B, right? Sine of B. This is must be capital letter, this sine B, right? So now what is it that you're going to do? Now let's start here. What was your tan of B? Your tan of B, you were given by this. Remember, you already calculated that. So this it was same as root 7 over your 3. Divide by what is your sine of B? Remember, sine, it is what? It is it's so, which means it's opposite over your hypotenuse. So it is given by what? It is given by root. It is not necessarily root. Yes, it's going to be given by root 7 over your what? Over your 4. And what is it that you can do now from there? You can say now what you are having there, you are having root 7 divide by what? This is root 7 over 3. Now you can change this into a multiplication sign, right? So if you change this into multiplication sign, then you must swap the signs, right? So what is it that you are going to have? Now look, you are going to have this as, this is going to be same as your root 7 over your 3 multiply by what? This is going to be multiply. You're going to interchange this. This is going to be same as 4 over your what? Over your root 7 altogether. And then now when you're multiplying here, what is it that you're going to have? Can you see that these two, this one and this one, they're going to cancel? So what you're going to be left with, it's 1 here and 1 here. So which means your answer, it is going to be given by 4 over 3.